on The Chosen in general. Let's begin. I think I get spotlighted for a minute, so you won't be able to see each other for a while, and we'll let you know the news. Brilliant. Well, my name is Krish Kandaya, and I don't normally promote American-made TV shows. That's not my job. I normally help the government on things like adoption and foster care. And I'm passionate about the church playing its part to help vulnerable people. You might know I also run something called the Sanctuary Foundation, which has been really exciting to see the church step up to help refugees from places like Afghanistan and more recently from Ukraine. So the church, in my book, is smashing it. It's knocking it out of the park when it comes to offering kindness and hospitality to the people that need it. But the reason that we do all of this incredible stuff around the UK is because we love Jesus. That's the core of it, isn't it? If you want to boil it down, we love Jesus, and therefore we want other people to love him too. And The Chosen, for me, is a fantastic opportunity for us here in the UK to help people have a grown-up engagement with who Jesus is. And what it is currently, it's a 2-season life of Jesus portrayed through the eyes of his disciples, and it's a multi kind of part series, so each episode kind of builds on the next, but is also a standalone story. I got to spend time with the script writers in Dallas in the United States in the summer, and I said to them, what are the shows that inspired you to write The Chosen the way that you did? And they said, I was really pleased actually, they said The X-Files and Battlestar Galactica. And I love those two shows. I'm big fans of both of them. So in both of those shows, you've got an episode that makes sense in itself, but it's part of a bigger theme that's building somewhere. And if you've watched The Chosen, you'll realize that's how it works. They also like the show The Wire, which is another favorite of mine. So this show beautifully introduces people to the person of Jesus. And as you'll hear from our guests going through our time today, they've tried to be as faithful to the Bible as they possibly can, but also to make sense in a multi-episode TV drama. They've had to use their imagination. I wonder what the backstory was. I wonder what some of the conversations in private might have been. And that's how this show has come into being. And it's been a phenomenal hit. I'm going to introduce you in a moment to Judy from Cova PR, who are looking after the kind of UK engagement with this series. And she's got some really big stats to help you understand just how big this show has been. But just to hear from the beginning from me, I guess I was pretty skeptical about an American-made TV show about Jesus. I had all sorts of fears that maybe it would be a kind of a very white Jesus, it would be a very politicized Jesus, he'll be banging the drum for issues that evangelicals in America care about, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Here is a beautiful, biblically based depiction of who Jesus is, and it's the Jesus, and when I read the Bible, this is the closest I've ever seen to something that portrays the Jesus that I've been encountering in my time through reading the scriptures. So I'm really excited of helping the UK church make the most of this opportunity as The Chosen comes to Britain. So as we go through today, there's going to be opportunity for you to ask questions. So use our chat to ask questions. We're going to have interviews with incredible people like Nicky Gumbel. Some of you will know he's the pioneer behind helping the Alpha course go viral globally. We've got the brilliant Natalie Williams, who's joining us, who heads up Jubilee Plus. They're a brilliant organization helping the church to engage with poverty. And man, do we need them right now with all that's going on in our economy. But we're also going to hear from Dallas Jenkins, the director and writer of The Chosen, and we've got some exciting news for you and some giveaways. So stick with us as we go through our program together. But to kick us off, I'm delighted that we have Judy. Judy and I have been friends, I think, for over 15 years. We used to work together in something called Damaris, which was an outfit trying to help often university students and sixth formers engage with movies and big questions of life. And now she runs, I'd say, a world-leading PR company helping movie makers like Sony Pictures engage with faith audiences, and we've had some wonderful times working on some shows as diverse as what do we do recently? We did Aretha Franklin's life story. We did a big film with Tom Hanks, and I know we love working on those kind of projects. But today we're talking about The Chosen. Tell us, Judy, about the kind of some of the global response there's been to The Chosen, and why this is an exciting time for us in the UK. Over to you.
No problem. Thank you, Krish. And thank you again, everybody, for taking the time to chat to us today. I think the name of the game for this project is certainly last minute. So I really appreciate your time. Nice to see some familiar faces as well. So I head up COVID PR, and we have been working with the team, the Chosen team in the US for maybe not long. I think it's been about 4 weeks. I think that this decision to bring The Chosen to the UK is a risk. And I think we're here to try and make sure that this is something that works, that's got longevity, that's got legs, and also that it's something that we can use to, like Chris was saying, talk about Jesus, because ultimately, that's why we're all here. So the key fact is that on the 18th of November, The Chosen season 3, so we've done season 1 and 2, and season 3, episodes 1 and 2, a kind of edit, will be in theatres across the UK. It will be in, I think we're up to 260 screens now. So it's quite a wide release, and it will be in Odeon cinemas and View cinemas, which is fabulous. So it will be on the 18th of November for 5 days. Most cinemas have just got 1 showing, a couple have got 2, but we'll give you all information about how to book tickets and find out more about this at the end. So this is a fantastic opportunity for the church to engage. I think this, like as Chris was saying, this is a real opportunity for us to faithfully follow Jesus and the gospel in a way that in an era that is obsessed with screens. It's very current. I think the production value is high because it didn't want to be something that can contend with the big boys, Sony and Universal and people like that. And it is cross-denominational, so it's looking at the character of Jesus. It's been praised for historical accuracy around costumes, language, props. It has been viewed worldwide 420 million times, and 9.2 million of those are in the UK, which fascinates me because we live in an era of I want to turn my smart TV on, I want what I want to watch right now. But this has only been available on an app, which is bizarre. That then there is a following, there is that need and that hunger to engage in this. And actually, I think we've only just started. We've not done any publicity about The Chosen in the UK at the moment, but that's going to change because they are slated for 7 seasons. So what we would really like to do with churches and organizations is really set a firm foundation for this series as something that we can use as a tool to talk about Jesus. I think, I echo Chris's thoughts on, feeling a bit about another kind of American series. Because we do faith differently in the UK, and we talk about it differently. Our language is different, and actually, it is phenomenal. I've cried a number of times, and looking at actually, no, this is the Jesus that I love. And I think often for me, for my generation, it's very difficult to bring Jesus into the world as a person. Who is he? It's a name. But as a person, and actually I think the way that we engage with each other now is we fall in love with falling in love with a person is very different. And I think that in an age where we're looking at, obsessed with screens, it's a really easy way to access the gospel. So the Chosen was started in a church. So the idea for the Chosen was started in a church, and you'll hear Dallas Jenkins talk a little bit about that later. So he is very passionate about churches. He's very passionate about equipping churches and enabling churches to be able to use what they've produced to get conversations started about Jesus. So I think, this meeting is very much the beginning of a conversation, the beginning of a partnership, the beginning of building a foundation of people who will champion the Chosen in the UK as part of their church organizations. And this is not about getting people in the cinema for revenue. This is about getting people in the cinema to raise the profile of the Chosen. The way that cinemas work is that the more people who go and see it, the more showings they will book. So cinemas will only book things if there's a hype around it, if there's a promise of people coming. So for those 5 days, the reason why we would like people to engage in the cinema is because we would also like it on the seasons that are already out on mainstream TV as well, and some kind of wider known apps and streaming services. So we would like the Chosen to be a bigger conversation in the UK. So we're going to give people an opportunity later to sign up to be a Chosen champion, where we'll keep you up to date with all of this information. And we will also keep you up to date with information, because we've got, so the 18th of November, the new season 3, episodes 1 and 2. And then subsequent Sundays, date TBC, they will release the rest of season 3 on apps. On the Chosen app, which will take us through to next year. And then they've got a script for season 4. So there's lots of opportunities. Alpha have been amazing. Krish has been amazing. And we are open to anything, really. Just ask if you've got opportunities, if you've got ideas, then, this is a conversation and we need you. So thank you again.
Amazing, Judy. You mentioned Chosen Champions. We're just putting the link in the chat now. If you want to become a Chosen champion, all it means is it will send you the latest information about what's going on, where these cinemas are, what merchandise there is available, other things that we can be doing to help people spread the word about how good this is and how it's a part of a stepping stone for people to find a relationship with Jesus themselves. It's in the chat now. If you, just for fun, if you sign up to be a Chosen champion, basically you're going to get on an email list. But today, just for fun, if you're a fan of the show, as many of you are, I've just read that someone's 98-year-old mother-in-law is utterly gripped by it, and someone else said that their primary school age daughter, so it seems to be crossing a lot of boundaries. If you sign up today to be a champion, we've got some merch to give to you, because it's been massive in America. They've got lots of merch. Do you want to talk us through some of the merch that's currently available?
Yeah, we've got
what's in the bundle.
Well, to be honest, at the moment, we've got season 1 and 2 of The Chosen on DVD, and we've got devotionals, and we've got a planner, and we've got some wristbands. But I think, if this is something that you could use in your church and whatever, please let us know, because we've got other stuff available as well.
That's right. DC Cook, who's a publisher in the US, have produced a little course that you can use with your friends. We'll talk with Natalie a little bit about how that course works. And if you sign up to be a champion, we can send you details of that. So you'll get on an email list there. It's interesting, DVDs. So I don't know about you. I don't have a DVD player in my house anymore, but there are members of my family who still use DVD, and the fact it's all available on DVD is kind of useful to some people. I don't know, someone said that their 98-year-old mother-in-law, did they do the app? I mean, that's great. Some of our 98-year-olds are very tech savvy and they can use apps, but some can't, and the DVD might be useful for them. In Germany, the Chosen DVD has been the best-selling DVD in the country, which is interesting to me. I thought the Germans would be even more technically advanced than us, but it still proved very, very helpful. So really, really excited about you becoming champions. That just means we'll send you stuff. We've got a little video that we'd love for you to show in your churches to help people know about this cinematic release, but also about the app itself. I'm wondering, Judy, that 9 million views in the UK. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about the kind of global economy, that we know where everybody is as they're kind of accessing stuff. 9 million views. I mean, that could be one. That could be 1 million people watching 9 episodes, or maybe 9 million people checking out an episode for the first time. That's a big audience that could come out to the cinemas, and they might have come across The Chosen without coming across a church. So churches getting involved with this could be a great way, isn't it? Connecting people that are meeting Jesus through The Chosen, but need to meet a community to find out more. What do you want a church to do if The Chosen is being shown in their vicinity?
So I think a couple of things. I think the thing that the feedback that we've been getting so we've kind of done some sort of exit poll type things to see what's valuable for people, and a couple of things are highlighted. The first thing is the representation of Jesus is cross-denominational. So a number of people have been able to have conversations from different denominations, especially the representation of the Jewish culture as well. People have really appreciated that, and it's been something that has encouraged conversations. I think the other thing is that's come out is the production value, and this is something that is. This will grow. This will keep coming, and I think that as a church, I don't want to. I think we've got an opportunity in quite a unique way to bring people in who don't know the person Jesus. And I think that is the feedback we're getting. A lot of people have said it made me fall in love with Jesus. It made him become a man. And that was the whole point he came, so that we could relate to him like that. So I think that, that's a really rich opportunity. And I think, just to give you a little idea, the Minions film, we also worked on the Minions film, and that came out in the US. And the Chosen series also did a release in the US. They've already sort of done what we're doing for season 2. And the Chosen got more people in to cinemas in the first 2 days than the Minions.
Wow.
And I just think that is nuts. Everyone loves those little yellow creatures, don't they? But, people have got to love Jesus more. And I think, I'd love to see those kind of stats, so that, we're working really hard to get the Guardian to engage, the Times, the Mail, who actually did do a poster launch for us, which is fantastic.
Brilliant.
But, trying to get that coverage, which will only grow if we engage.
That's a great idea. And some of us can access the national media, but local newspapers, local radio might be something that your church could get involved with. Some of us have those relationships. We're seeing on the chat, Judy, that the form, we might have crashed it. Well done. So many of you signed up that we crashed the form. We'll work on that in the background. As soon as we've got that working again, we'll post the link for you. But let's can
I just add one more thing, is that if churches want to hold a Chosen event, they can, and that is something we can talk about.
Brilliant. Okay, more details in the email once we've figured out that form, and we'll be back in touch. Thank you, Judy. Thanks for what you're doing. Now, it's my absolute delight to invite onto the screen Nicky Gumbel. Nicky, you will know, was the vicar at Holy Trinity Brompton Church till very recently. And in fact, he did such an incredible job of his last sermon. I wrote a whole article about it because it was so moving. It's so great to see what Nicky's accomplished at HTB. He's still the global lead for Alpha, the Alpha course. I'm sure you've all heard about the Alpha course, but a wonderful way for people to encounter the Jesus that they're being, drawn to through The Chosen, wouldn't it be fantastic if The Chosen was a funnel for people to find out more about God through the Alpha course? So, Nicky, thank you for joining us.
Oh, no,
I
thank
believe,
you, Chris. It's lovely to be with you.
oh, it's great. And congratulations on this new phase in your ministry. Well done on all that you accomplished at HTB. I believe you had the opportunity to meet Jesus,
Yes.
the person that plays Jesus, let's say that,
Yes.
Jonathan Rumi.
Yes.
What was that like? What was your experience?
Well, I interviewed him for the leadership conference. The leadership conference didn't happen at the Royal Albert Hall this year because of COVID. So we did it online, and I interviewed him and spent some time with him, and very impressed. A lovely, lovely man. Deep faith, Roman Catholic, which I think is very interesting in terms of the cross-denominational appeal of The Chosen, because it's obviously something that's been promoted very much in the Catholic Church. But I think most of the people involved in the production would be from not Catholic. So it's got as you said, it's very cross-denominational. And Jonathan is very impressive. He's got a very deep faith. He's a lovely man, and I think he does it really well. I mean, it's very hard to do it in a non-cheesy way. And I think he succeeds. It's really difficult. I think it must be the most difficult part to play. But actually, he's felt it's a sort of cool, I think, since the age of about 9. He used to sort of play Jesus and make a cross, and he felt a sort of calling to portray Jesus. And I think he does it beautifully, because it's very hard to portray the human side of Jesus without losing the divinity. And of course, it's an impossible task in a way, but I think he does it absolutely brilliantly. We've loved it. There's a lot of humor, which, you think, see Jesus laughing and having fun, but not in a way that, I mean, of course, it is the Gospels, but it's the sort of the backstory. There's some imagination there, but it's not unbelievable in terms of the way the background is portrayed. There's a lot of, I think it's extremely well done. I'd say one of the things that I loved about it is the way the disciples are portrayed. I think the way that Matthew, the tax collector, is portrayed helps you have a slightly different image of Matthew when you're reading the Gospels. Likewise, Peter's wife, Peter's mother-in-law, and the way Mary, or both Marys, Mary Magdalene and Mary, are portrayed. Again, it's sort of, I think it's been very well researched, both theologically and historically, so that you really do feel it could have been like that. And it helps you to understand how things might have looked. So, yeah, we've really enjoyed it. Pippa and I have watched both series, and we really enjoyed it. Each episode is very well done. Some of it's very dramatic, but I think it helps you to understand some of the stories. The woman, I don't know, it brings the stories to life.
You're so right, Nicky. I felt that I had the privilege of walking around the set that they've built in Dallas, Texas, and it's like you're entering first century Israel. They have, the attention to detail is phenomenal. Like, I was blown away by it. And as you say, the acting really brings, I guess, some of the saints that we saw in the stained glass windows into 3D. Suddenly, yes, you could engage with them and relate to them and understand their circumstances.
Yeah, now, I mean, it's one thing seeing Peter as a saint in a stained glass window. It's another thing seeing him as a young guy, a fisherman. who's married and got a mother-in-law and a home and is a real person. And
Yeah,
I think
exactly
it helps
right.
sort of turn it from something that is could be a bit sort of religious into something very relatable. But it's not done in a way, and I think that's interesting, the Catholic side, it's not done in any way that's sort of not reverent. It's done.
Yeah, exactly. That balance, the paradox almost between the humanity and the divinity of Jesus, I think they've walked it really well.
Yeah.
So he definitely feels human and you relate to his humanity, but then there is this sense of gravitas about the divine. It's brilliant. Yeah. Nicky, I know you're someone who has been passionate for so long about equipping the church to talk about Jesus. How do you think The Chosen might give us opportunities to talk more frankly, honestly, openly about who Jesus means for us? How could it be a useful tool for the church?
I think anything that gets people talking is good. I think people, I think there's a huge spiritual hunger now. I swim in the Serpentine every morning. The Serpentine, for those of you who don't know, is a lake in Hyde Park. And this is the first year that I'm trying to swim through the winter, if I can. Well, at least this is the furthest I've got, the 1st of November. But it's so interesting. A group of people that I've met down there who I absolutely love. They're sort of in their 20s, 30s, entrepreneurs, and they are all doing things that are very sort of seeking purpose through, cold water therapy or mushroom tea or Kalinetics or yoga or just different things. They're just delightful, and meditation, a lot of meditation going on. But when you say to them, and they ask me what I do, and I say, well, I used to be a vicar, but now I do think I'm sort of more doing Alpha full time. Oh, what's Alpha? It's an opportunity to explore the meaning and purpose of life. Oh, can we do that? Can you sign us up for that? So I think people are searching, and I think The Chosen is a way that people might. I showed them some of the music that my son-in-law is producing. They've got a new group called Manor Collective, which is very diverse. And I played him some of the music. They said, "Oh, can we come and listen to them?" It's just there's this openness, I think, in this generation, which is much greater than it's been for a very long time. They haven't got the baggage that previous generations have had, and I think people are very open. I think if they see something like The Chosen, they'll think, "Oh, that's what Jesus is like. That's not how I think of religion."
Exactly right.
And I think particularly the sort of the fun, the humor, the humanity, the goodness, the life, the at the same time the reality and the authenticity, that they're not perfect, that they have their competitive sides, that they I think it's just a fun way for people to. The fact that 9.2 million views in the UK shows how the high production values, because it's a joy to watch.
Yes.
And each episode, it's a bit like, I suppose, watching an episode of The West Wing or something. Each episode has a leadership lesson to teach, and a point. It's not, and because it's done over quite a long time, the films I've seen about Jesus before are either sort of almost blasphemous or cheesy. If they try to make him perfect, they're cheesy. And if they try to do the opposite, they become actually blasphemous. And they're not really portraying the real Jesus. Right. But this somehow manages, which is so clever that they've managed to do that. And yes, and of course nothing's perfect, and people will say, "Oh, I don't think Jesus would have done that or said that or laughed at that," but nothing's perfect. But insofar as attempts to portray and bring the Gospels to life are concerned, I think it's clever to do it in 7 seasons, because if you try and cram the life of Jesus into an hour and a half, it's very difficult. But to take each of the sort of episodes of the New Testament and make a whole hour or whatever it is episode around it means that you can really bring it to life and bring the people to life around Jesus. And I think actually the characters around Jesus are almost as I think that's the thing that helps in a way, because when you start to see James and John and Peter and Andrew and Matthew, it helps you to perhaps be drawn into reading the New Testament.
Yes,
exactly. To catch the real Jesus in the New Testament. So
that's right.
I think it's all good. I think it's very well done. They're great people involved in it. And I hope it goes viral and as many people as possible see it.
Fantastic, Nicky. Thank you for that brilliant overview. And I think you're right about this whole spiritual openness for this generation. They did a little experiment in the US with a group of Gen Z or Gen Z, depending on how you want to pronounce that. And it was an invitation to watch a show that people didn't know what it was going to be about. It was all done, like a bit of a kind of focus group PR thing. And people signed up for it. And I wouldn't suggest we do this in the same way over here. But they agreed to be filmed like on a live reality TV show about what they made of this show. And the show was The Chosen. And it was so moving because they got a group of young people. Some of them had no experience of the church. Some of them had terrible experience of the church. But it was encountering Jesus again that opened them up spiritually to think about, who he was and what life was about. And having watched The Chosen, they were then open to further discussion. And that's our prayer, isn't it? That this will be a tool, a catalyst to help the church do its job. We'd love to see lots of conversations around the Serpentine or around the water cooler at work. We'd love to see lots of people joining an Alpha course off the back or just reading the Bible for themselves. So it's a huge opportunity for us. So it's brilliant. It's really exciting. Yeah. Just one last question, Nick. Sorry.
Go on, there you go. Go.
One last question was, who should we be encouraged to watch this? Who do we want to, ideally, who do we want to watch this show?
I think everybody should watch it. I think I think there's some really good comments. Shelley, I love Nicodemus. Nicodemus is brilliantly portrayed. John White, the Pool of Bethesda. Yeah, that's a fantastic episode. Matthew and Jesus preparing the Sermon on the Mount. Brenda, it's The Woman at the Well is a phenomenal episode. So I agree with all those comments. It's really well done. I think everyone would benefit from watching it. And with Alpha, we never try and pressurize anyone to do Alpha. People want to do Alpha. They come along and do it, and then they tell their friends. And I think that's the way that this will work. People will love it, and they'll tell their friends, and that's how it spread so far. And I think that's how this will. I would encourage anybody to watch it, and if they enjoy it, they're going to say, "Oh, I mean, changing room chat at the Serpentine is always about. I've just watched this on Netflix." And people go, "Oh, which one was that? Oh, I'll have a look at that." So it's chat, isn't it? And that's how things work. If it's good, people will enjoy it, and they'll tell their friends about it. It'd be a natural thing for lots of people to watch it. It'll become a sort of conversation at wherever in the pub or in the changing room or in the wherever that is worth watching.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nicky. Your enthusiasm for this show is so infectious, as it is for so many things. So thanks for giving us your time today. Stick around if you can, because we'll do some Q&A at the end. But I want to bring Natalie Williams in now. She's had a lovely experience with The Chosen and her family. I'd love her to share a little bit about that. Natalie, CEO of Jubilee Plus. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Love the books you've written, the way you've been empowering the church to engage with issues of poverty. So thank you for doing that. We were speaking a little while ago that you had some prejudices and some preconceptions about the show before you watched it. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I think I have never before The Chosen enjoyed anything I've ever watched about Jesus, whether it's on TV, whether it's a film. I've always found he's portrayed as so somber, would be the nicest word I think I would probably use. I've really, yeah, like Nicky said, it's either cheesy or almost blasphemous, or just Jesus looks quite miserable a lot of the time. So for me, I heard about The Chosen. I thought, oh no, it's going to be another, one like that. And then was just from episode 1, just so pleasantly surprised, and just love how, for me, it opened up the Gospels. I'd never thought about what it would be like as a leper getting healed, or as a blind person getting healed, how that would have felt. And of course, you'd have hugged Jesus and you'd have kind of thrown yourself at him in gratitude, and he wouldn't have looked miserable at the fact that he'd just healed you. The Bible says God delights to show mercy. And so just seeing that brought to life by The Chosen, for me, I really enjoyed it. I felt like I had to eat quite a lot of humble pie for how I'd expressed my skepticism in advance about it. So yeah, I found it really joyful, actually.
And you told me a lovely story about how it's impacted your own witness in your family. Do you want to share a bit about that?
Yeah, so in summer 2020, actually, I work for a local church as well as Jubilee Plus. So we ran a course on it, and we just invited some people who aren't Christians as well as Christians to come on it. I think that the idea was, if you're a mature Christian, it will help you deepen your faith. That's what it did for me. But if you're a new Christian, it'll also help you maybe get deeper into the Gospels. And we invited some non-Christians, and I've been inviting my mum to Alpha for probably at least 20 years, and she'll never come on Alpha. I think she knows once she's on Alpha, that's probably it. She's probably going to become a Christian. So I think there's this reticence from her. But with The Chosen, she was like, oh yeah, I'll come and watch a TV program on a Zoom with a bunch of people. And then we had little breakout groups, and I wrote some discussion group questions for it. And we had some further reading in the Bible, which she would look up the Bible passages and read the further reading for each episode. But it wasn't just having my mum on it. That was true for other non-Christians. I think particularly those who are related to someone who's been a Christian for a long time, and they've been invited multiple times to Alpha, and for whatever reason, I love Alpha, but for whatever reason, Alpha seems a step too far for them. Felt like they could really engage with The Chosen. I think partly because it's a TV program. I thought, well, I watch TV, so that doesn't feel quite as scary as sitting in a room chatting with people about religion or Jesus or whatever. So yeah, and it's been great. My mum has carried on. We didn't run a course on season 2, mainly because we were back out of lockdown and things. But my mum's watched season 2 as well. And she's asking me, I told her I was going to be on this. She's like, oh, can I come to it? And I was like, yeah, of course you can, Mum. She's not on the Zoom, but she's like, when is season 3 coming out? What's the news? Tell me about it. She's as excited about it as some of the Christians are in the chat today, which it's just really exciting to see her maybe going on that journey of maybe discovering what Jesus might actually be like, and actually this program is helping her to do that in a way that some of the traditional methods we've used, or I've tried to use evangelistically, just haven't worked for her at all. So yeah, it's been great.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I've got a torrential storm happening outside my window. Hope it's not too noisy, but thank you. And that's really exciting to hear. And all the best to your mum. I'm glad she's become a super fan of The Chosen. So friends, we've been hearing, if you're new to The Chosen, it's a 2-season TV show that's currently available through the app. We will send you the link. If you sign up to be a champion, we can send you the link. If the sign up is not working, we'll send it to you through the Eventbrite link, because we've already got your email that way. But we'll send you the link, or you could just Google it. Becoming a champion is going to give you specialized insider knowledge of the latest things that are happening, and will give you resources to be able to champion The Chosen in your church, in your community, which would be fantastic. And as you heard from Judy, we've got this cinematic release in 200 plus cinemas across the UK for the beginning of season 3. And I don't think it's a spoiler. we get a really, really exciting encounter with the feeding of the 5,000. Can you imagine that on a big screen? I think it'll be excellent. So make use of that cinematic launch to see if we can drive some more interest. Now, before we take Q&A from you, and there's been some really good ones already in the chat, we wanted to let you have access to Dallas. Dallas messaged us to say, sorry, he can't be live with us, but he sent us a special message. Apparently, it's quite a big deal with this going over 1,000 cinemas launch in the US. But he sent us a special message, so we'll hand over to Dallas to hear from him and what he wants to say to you.
Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and this is really exciting for me, and I'll tell you why. First of all, thank you to Alpha and to Nicky Gumbel for making this happen, for giving me the opportunity to share with you. See, The Chosen started in a church. I was actually working for a church in Illinois, and I made a short film for my church's Christmas Eve service about the birth of Christ from the perspective of the shepherds. And while I was doing that, I came up with the idea for The Chosen. Now, my passion has always been with this show to help people know and love Jesus more. Now, what happens when you know and love Jesus more? You want to be in church. You want to worship. You want to be discipled. And that has been what we have been hearing over and over again from literally hundreds of thousands of people at minimum around the world, telling us that because of The Chosen, because of their newfound passion and excitement for Jesus, even when they've already known him, but for many people, they haven't known him before, they want to go deeper. They are back in church more than ever before because of this, and that's where you come in. Now, to my brothers and sisters in the UK, it is such an honor because I also want The Chosen to be global. This has never just been about an American show. We've wanted this show to be seen and to find partners with people in other countries and other languages. Now, of course, you in the UK speak a slightly different language than we do, but it's pretty similar. Maybe a little bit more sophisticated at times, maybe not, who knows. You do speak the same language as we do, but we obviously have cultural differences all the time that come up. But this show is about focusing on Jesus. And when you focus on Jesus, those cultural differences, the religious differences even, the denominational differences seem to fall by the wayside because we are focused on Jesus over religion, or Jesus over culture, Jesus over country. And that's what's so exciting about getting to partner with churches, with pastors, with leaders in the UK, because this is not only for your constituents, your congregations, your listeners in the UK, but it's for the entire world. And what starts passionately in America, what starts passionately in the UK, can be spread around the entire world, and we're seeing that constantly. So I do hope that we can partner together and work on this. If you haven't seen the show yet, you might want to check it out. But if you have, and you're looking for ways to partner with us, this is one of those ways. Now, November 18th, yes, The Chosen is coming to theaters. Episodes 1 and 2 of season 3 are going to be launched in theaters, and they're going to be launched in the UK. In theaters. So you can go check that out. If you've got people that you want to introduce to the show, now's the time. Now, not necessarily in the theater, because if they watch season 3 first, they're not going to understand it as much. But now's a great time to get people engaged with the show so that you can do community events if you want in theaters on November 18th. But regardless, I don't think about the numbers anymore. I don't think about results. I just think about the fact that we can partner together. I love partnering with churches. That's my heart, to do discipleship together, to bring more people to God's word. That is what The Chosen is all about. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dallas. Good to see you. I had the chance of interviewing Dallas in Dallas, which felt very surreal. And he is a 3,000 miles an hour guy. You know, he's so involved in every aspect of the show. I've watched him kind of giving notes to Jesus about, you know, how he should play this particular, Jonathan Rumi, the person that plays Jesus, how he should play this angle. And he's great, big, larger than life chap, and fantastic, really good guy. And we have a few questions coming into our chat. And so we want to give you a chance to be able to ask them to our panel. So we'll bring our panel back on to screen. One question that came up quite early was the links with the Latter-day Saints. I don't know how that has become a kind of thing. What I discovered was, so Dallas Jenkins is a evangelical Christian. He's the director of the whole show and the main writer behind everything. As Nicky mentioned, the production team around The Chosen Christians. The actors, interestingly, come from a variety of different backgrounds. In fact, for some of them, they're on a spiritual journey. It was playing Jesus or playing one of the disciples that's really opened up their eyes to faith, which I think is brilliant. It makes all the sense in the world. And it's almost like they're living the story of the disciples who went on their own spiritual journeys as they kind of got to know Jesus. I think one of the companies, Angel Studios, that was involved earlier, had a Mormon background, but they didn't have editorial control of what was going out there. And as Nicky mentioned, this show is trying to stick very closely to the Gospels, and because of that has been liked by evangelical Christians, charismatic Christians, Catholic Christians, Orthodox Christians, and people from a Mormon background. And so I see this as a positive, that something that's been very faithful to the scripture, doesn't have Mormon teaching in any way in it, is finding traction within the Mormon community. That just tells me that Jesus has universal appeal, and that atheists and Muslims and Mormons and everyone else can find something beautiful and wonderful in him. So I think it's positive that it's got such interesting traction within the Mormon community. But Nicky or Natalie, anything that you guys want to add about that whole question about its links with the Mormon church?
I think just to follow up on that, because it's a crowd-funded project, it started off as a crowd-funded project. It's the most successful crowd-funded project ever, and the people who own that crowdfunding organization are Mormons. So they were the mechanism to help finance the project, but they're not involved in any other way. So if that's helpful. Chris, you're on.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really helpful. Excellent. Archbishop Fidelia's got her hand up. Do you want to just ask your question, Archbishop?
Yes, please. I just want to know, how does The Chosen portray the spirituality of Christ? Because I have seen many videos that actually comes to, portray him as the spirituality virtually goes out of the window. And some of them, he's falling in love with a woman and so on and so forth. So please.
Thank you, Archbishop. Great question. And you're referring to The Last Temptation of Christ, which was a bit of a big deal back in I want to say the 90s. That wasn't written, directed, and produced by evangelical Christians or people that had confessional traditional faith. The difference with The Chosen is the people at the heart of this really believe the Gospels. Maybe Nicky, you want to comment on Archbishop's question? How is the spirituality of Jesus portrayed? Because some people are worried that might have been taken out. Can you reassure our friend?
I think all I'd say is have a look at it. Everyone's going to make up their own. I personally loved it, but I think watch it and see what you think. Nothing's perfect, but I think it does a very good job at portraying Jesus and the disciples and the context. And it isn't the Gospels, but it helps its insights into Jesus, its insights into life in the times, the stories. It just helps bring some of the stories to life.
Thank you, Nicky. And just to encourage everybody that hasn't seen it yet, that's a really good advice. Just watch it. You can do that. Again, we can send you the link in a bit. when people take the spirituality out of the Jesus story, that often means you get rid of the miracles. The miracles are all there. You know, we're going to see the feeding of the 5,000. You see a demon exorcism in what's going on with Mary Magdalene. So it's there. They haven't edited Jesus to kind of fit in with social norms. The only thing they've done is they've taken the gospel stories and tried to give you a little bit of background, like I wonder what would have happened. So it's trying to be very faithful. Judy, there was a question about the certificate of the Chosen. Do we know anything about that?
Yes, I'll answer a couple of questions. I've just been reading through. So the certification is to be determined. It will probably be a 12A. But we are, I'm waiting to hear any day on that, and that will be uploaded onto the ticketing websites. Speaking of which, Alpha have very kindly put together a mini site, which I will share the web address now. The frustrating thing is that the server's down at the moment, so you can get onto it, but it's a little bit funny formatting and stuff, so we are hoping that will be solved any second. It's out of Alpha's hands, but I've just put the web address on the chat. On here you'll be able to there'll be all information about tickets, where to buy them, and I saw somebody said, is it available in Northern Ireland? It will be. It is showing in Northern Ireland. There are a couple of, I think there's about 5 cinemas at the moment, so once we get that link live to buy tickets, you'll be able to see it. And a couple of other questions that I've just seen as well. In terms of, a lot of people are wonderfully asking what's the best way of promoting this. I think it's twofold, really. I think we've got to do the short term and the long term. So the short term is we've got to get people to see it in the cinemas, because that will increase the resources in which we are then able and allowed to push further engagement. It's just the way the cinema the industry works. I think we'd love to create a story around this, so that secular press pick it up, the unprecedented support of Jesus and this series. So I think that's the first thing. There's a couple of other things. We will be emailing out some information for you with some standard text, some stills, some images, some poster images, and press release, links to watch the current seasons, season 1 and 2. So we will email you that stuff. There's another one about merchandise, and where you can buy that. And I think that's great, because you can buy it at Eden Bookshop, but again, that's kind of like the longer term. Wearing the merchandise and things like that is great for raising the profile and for starting conversations. The other two things is, if you would like to watch it if you would like to set up an event in your church, we can do that. We've got a link for you to sign up, and the US team will sort everything out for you in terms of permissions and things and assets. And also we've got group bookings if you want to book out a cinema. And then lastly, we've got all of the cast available for interviews. So if anybody is, doing a live, Facebook Live or anything like that, we've got cast available on the week commencing the 7th of November, which is next week. But, we just ask, and we'll try and answer.
Fantastic. We are nearly coming to a close. I'm just going to give each of our panelists a chance to say some last encouragements to our audience. Let's start with Natalie, and then we'll come to Nicky and Judy, and then I'll say a little farewell and a prayer. So, Natalie, you've heard our discussions, you've seen some of the chat. What's your encouragement to people watching today?
I think just to invite people, invite your Christian friends, invite your non-Christian friends, invite your friends of other faiths. So I think it's just a real gateway to explore who Jesus is, what he's like, and a real open door to reading the Gospels for yourself and exploring the Bible for yourself. So I'd recommend it, and I certainly am already thinking about who I'm going to text after this to say who's coming to see it with me. I want all my friends and family who don't know Jesus to come, but I'm sure a whole bunch from my church will want to come as well. So yeah, invite people. I think it's going to be great.
Brilliant. Judy. Oh, sorry, Nicky, and then Judy. Nicky first, then Judy.
I just say try it. Have a go. Listen, it's so easy to get. We are so technically unsavvy. We don't know how to. We virtually can't turn on the television, but we managed to find the app and watch it. So if we can do it, anyone can do it, and just try it. And if you enjoy it, watch more. And go and watch the film.
Fantastic, Nicky. Thank you. Just a quick one before Judy comes up. People are asking, is there a trailer? We have a UK-specific video that we'll send you that you can show in churches to help people make the most of it. And again, if there isn't a cinema near you, that's not the end of the world at all. You can watch it on the app, and season 3 is coming. The cinema release is just a little immediate push, trying to get more people engaging with it here in the UK, and trying to find some of those 9 million viewers. Like, who are they? Where are they? Where would they like to come and have a look at season 3 and have a chance to meet some of us lot? Judy, over to you. Anything you want to say by way of farewell?
Yeah, just quickly, because the Alpha link is down at the moment, people are asking how they can book tickets today. If you go on the Odeon or the View website and search for The Chosen, you can see locations at the moment. So that's one way to do it. But I just want to say thank you. This is exciting. This is the start of it, and I feel really privileged to be able to talk to you and have you all here. And I'm looking forward to walking this out. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It is lastminute.com, in that we only heard relatively recently that this was coming. So thanks for joining us at such short notice.
If I can I clicked on that link that's in the chat, and it works.
Hooray!
So that one, alpha.org.uk. If I can click on the link and it works.
It does work, but it's all black.
Oh,
so you can't.
No, mine looks great.
Is yours not?
You have anointed Wi-Fi. Yeah. That's great.
We've got the trailer and some pictures, but you can't see any of the text or links on it.
Oh, okay.
So
sorry. I shouldn't. Right. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to leave you before I can finish anyone further. God bless. Much love.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Judy. This is an exciting opportunity. We're going to make the most of it. I think what Jesus was able to do, turning the world upside down with 12 people, I believe we can at least turn our social media upside down with our 100 or so that joined us today. So we'll send you all the assets that we can. Let's make the most of this chance. I'll say a little prayer, and then I'll release you to whatever you're doing this afternoon. Father God, we thank you for Jesus. Thank you that he is the hope of the world. He is the light. He is the truth. He is the way. He is the life. And we want as many people as possible to come to experience just how wonderful he is. And thank you for this tool. We believe the power is in the gospel. It's your Holy Spirit that makes things work or not. But thank you for this tool and all the energy that went in to try and pull it together. Help us as your church to be good stewards, to make the most of it, and help people encounter Jesus for who he truly is. Thank you for everyone involved, and we pray your blessing on each one of us and our families and communities in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Great to see you. We'll be in touch. Watch your inbox, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well done, everyone. I will. I've got to run. I'll give you a call a bit later. Nice to see you. Take care. Bye bye.